Here we are. Look at that. Just like that.
It's almost magic.
It is. Live and local. We're here trying a different lens this week. So we're trying to get us so we're not like right beside each other. So it's a little bit of a wider angle. And the color's a little different. And I plugged this light in this time instead of battery, so it won't go off.
That's a good idea.
And I turned them down a little so Raffi doesn't get... Anyway, welcome to CarYada with Raffi and Dan. He's Raffi, I'm Dan. Each and every week we come here, we talk about cars.
Yes, we do.
And lots of cars. And the picture that I posted for the show today was a very interesting photo that I want to pull up because it was, oh, that's not it there. It was a picture of a car that we Googled the VIN for. It was a car we bought at work. And the car that we bought did not look anything like this particular car. And I don't know where the picture went.
So you bought a car that was represented to look like a certain vehicle, and then when it appeared on the VIN, when you searched the VIN, it's a different car entirely.
No. It was a car that was here. Here it is.
Okay, so this is the car you're showing. Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
Can you pull that?
I'm going to pull it up here. It's just the way we have the screen set up here. Here we go. Setting.
Yes, let's get that.
Not settings. I don't want settings. Present. I've got the thing in my way.
I can barely recognize. It looks like it might be formerly a Mustang. Let me see if I get that right.
No, it's a Charger.
Oh, it's a Charger. Oh, it's a 4-door Charger. Yeah, there you go.
So,
oh my goodness.
What happened was the car showed up at the auction, and the auction said to us, "Hey, do you know this has a theft history?"
Oh, wow.
And then they sent us this picture.
Yeah.
And so we immediately were like, "Wait a minute, this is what showed up at the auction?" Like I thought this was from the auction.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. The guy had bought it like this.
Okay.
As a theft recovery.
Oh, and he fixed it.
Put it all back together and painted it orange.
Oh.
And this is like an SRT Hellcat. This is it's like $100,000 car.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we freaked out. And we made a new policy after this. Google the VIN. So if you're ever going to buy a car, even before you go spend the money on a Carfax, just put the VIN in a search engine and hit enter as you're wont to do.
Yes.
And a picture might come up like that of the car you're looking at.
Yes, this is very important. It's interesting you mentioned it because I did just this exact same thing on an Acura NSX last week. Some information was sent to me and said it's got this, this, and this. And I looked at a couple pictures of the car. I said, this looks a little suspicious to me. So I Googled the VIN, just as you said, and it came up that it was a formerly entered as a Mecum auction candidate, and it was removed from the auction.
Oh.
And so I thought, well, something's going on there. So ended up not working on it.
And what happens is now we're telling everybody, Google the VIN.
Yes.
Just do that. Whenever you're interested in a car, just put the VIN in, hit enter. You can find out if it's for sale at a dealership.
Right.
And it's a dealer that's listing it on, say, Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace as a private party. And you see it's a dealership, so they're kind of slimy. Or you can find out history about it.
No, not all dealerships are slimy.
Well, if a dealer does that, that's slimy.
That's true.
Because it's also illegal. You have to advertise that you are a dealer when you advertise a car as a dealer.
Yep.
Adam Jones says, "Good morning, fellow CarYadians."
Well, there you go.
I guess that's what we're the cardigans. We should get cardigan sweaters.
Yes. I'll wear my cardigan next week.
Adam, we'll see you this evening. We have a big comedy show here on Bainbridge.
Looking forward to that.
Only a couple of tickets left. A few. Under 10.
Under 10. 7 I heard last night.
So get your tickets.
Yeah.
bpatix.com. If you do have questions, though, during the show, what we do is, I got to put the right one
bumper out there,
is post your questions in the comments. And I like to do, every once in a while, I like to do just all viewers' choice, which means I didn't prepare.
Yes.
other than the one thing about Google the VIN. But if you have any questions, car related whatsoever, you've got a car expert right there. This
Turns
guy.
out.
I know a little bit. He knows a lot. He's the guy I go to when I have a question.
And periodically, I will get texts even during the show
Yes.
that from people just asking questions. So
Ray Pepper, top of the morning from shiny Gig Harbor.
yeah, oh, very nice.
Giggity, giggity.
Yeah, and Bob Moss, good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Yo, Dan / Raffi.
Yeah, and any questions, of course, we're happy to see if we can answer them.
Ray has sent over some car information that we can maybe bring up in a bit of some of the cars that he's dealing with right now. Where my
so while we're getting some of that ready, I'm going to shift us over just a little bit to news. Recently, we talked about it's been rather cold here. Cold weather out here tends to be in the 30s, but we actually saw temperatures in the teens, and across the country, also temperatures dropped well below freezing for quite a bit of time. Now, normally temperatures like this, people will stay indoors, they'll keep their home warm, they'll do their best to stay off the roads, and these were all good things. But of course, sometimes people do have to get out in their vehicle, go and do things, run errands, take care of medical medications and things like that. So you're in your vehicle and you're driving, and you want to have snow tires and make sure you're safe. You have proper outdoor gear. When it's super cold outside, it can be very problematic. So you have to be careful. But the big thing that has come up is electric vehicles. There are a lot more electric vehicles out there now. And as it turns out, and this shouldn't be a surprise for those of you who have researched this, electric vehicles in the sub-zero temperatures, they're going to be diminished in their charging speed. So they'll take a lot longer to charge. And they're also going to have a smaller or shorter runtime. Yeah, range. So not just the range, but the runtime. If you're running various sitting in your vehicle and you're using various things that you're utilizing to keep the vehicle warm, keep entertainment going in the vehicle, all of that stuff is going to be impacted by the cold because batteries don't operate as well or as efficiently in temperatures that are under freezing.
Now, in our Cars and Coffee Zoom call the other day, we were discussing this, and prepare. This was for tonight, by the way. You'll hear it later again.
Okay. Yeah.
But my car is a Polestar. It gets fully charged says 250, but in the cold it gets like 165.
Yeah.
That's shrinkage.
Yes, yes, it's
a little chilly, and it just
those battery particles just pull right in. They tuck right in. They're not going to perform.
Yeah, and one of our Charlie Hall, who was one of our Cars and Coffee guys, was down in L.A. last week.
Yeah,
and he said that the entire first floor of the Peterson Automotive Museum is all Teslas. They have the Cybertruck that they use, that they shot and they broke the window in.
Yep.
Put the window back. But that's there. They have like an exploded view of a Model 3, and you can see what the batteries look like. And the batteries actually don't look like AA's; look more like D's.
D batteries.
They're like D batteries, but every time you see like a little image of them, it's always like just nothing but AA batteries, like all together.
Yeah.
And the Rivian uses 10,000 iPhone batteries.
Yes.
In each car. 10,000 iPhone batteries. So the little battery that's inside this, imagine 10,000 of these.
Yeah, and look, we've got a battery problem. It's slowly been building as volume has increased. Electric car batteries utilize difficult to mine resources. The material that is needed to make lithium-ion batteries is very difficult to get out of the ground. It's very difficult to process it, and it's very difficult to recycle it.
But that being said, Cox Automotive, who I'll disclaim I do work for, has a division, and they have been able to recycle EV batteries to create new EV batteries because they can mine the old batteries instead of digging the ground. lithium ion apparently doesn't die.
Right.
And you can refurbish it. There's a way to do it, and they've already done. I forget the exact number, but the number 300,000 pops in my head. That
So
they've recycled 300,000 batteries from going into the landfill. They're actually able to take them out of the car, and they're working with manufacturers now to do this.
Right, and they're not the only ones. There are other companies that are building recycling facilities, but it's extremely expensive.
Yes.
Now you can gain carbon offsets by doing some of this recycling, so there's some benefits to it from a company perspective by doing this. But it's going to be a long time before it's financially viable.
Saving the world is not cheap.
It's not.
No.
It is not cheap because it was cheap to damage it in the first place.
Right.
It's cheap. Always more expensive to fix than it is to, the Bob Moss brings up a good point. Solid state. Yeah, solid state batteries. That is one of many new technologies that's being developed. But there's a lot of volume issues with solid state batteries. There has to be infrastructural investment into it. There has to be a tremendous amount of research put together. And what we have to remember is that every single automobile that runs on the road with electric power owes it to the cell phone, because we build somewhere on the order of millions a day in cell phones. So that level of volume for making batteries is what made it possible for electric automobiles to advance at the rate that they have. So you need for something that's scalable, like automobiles, into the millions of vehicles annually, you need to have technology that is infrastructurally robust so that you can make those things for very little amounts of money. So right now, solid state batteries are a possibility, but the costs per battery are too high to make them financially viable for production volume vehicles.
Now, speaking of technology.
Yes.
Now, Ray sent me this picture.
Okay.
This is a car he bought recently. And when he bought it, it was snowing out, apparently.
So there's snow on the vehicle.
So there's the car, Honda Accord.
Honda Accord.
Lovely car.
Great automobile. Honda makes one of the best, most reliable products out there.
And he said, I got to run it through the car wash because that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, got to wash the car.
Sure.
He's a dealer.
Yep.
Got to make it pretty. And this is what happened at the car wash.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. It ripped the bumper off.
The entire front bumper and grille came off.
Oh, dear.
So I'm curious, Ray, if you can tell us what was is it now Ray's car wash? Like, did that happen? Is it officially no longer whatever brand you went to? Don't say the brand, please, because we don't want to besmirch a local company.
Excuse me. So real quickly, if you take your vehicle to a car wash, when you do, you have to realize that inside most car washes, there's a lot of activity. These things are whipping around and spinning, and your front bumper and grille, they can get hooked. So those pieces will grab a hold of a section, and a lot of contemporary plastic components on vehicles, they're held on with, it's not bolts and nuts and bolts holding a lot of that stuff on. They're clips, they're pressed in fasteners. These things will come off very quickly.
Well, it makes me also think he should Google the VIN of that car.
Yes.
Because I have a strange feeling that bumper was off before. That was not the first time that bumper came off. He says he now owns Sudstar Port Orchard.
There you go.
All right. I was making sure it wasn't Brown Bear because,
Oh, sure. Now, Paul has a question.
Oh, this is a good one.
Let's see. Is there a rule of thumb to make repairs to daily drivers? I can't read the rest of that.
That exceed the value of the car?
This is an excellent question. Well, I suppose there could be a financial calculation that you could determine that would tell you whether or not it makes fiscal sense. But the answer to your question is really more of, believe it or not, it's a personal answer, because if you have a vehicle, let's say it's a 2005 Honda, and you've got 100,000 miles on that car, and it's paid for, and the car requires a $2,500 repair or servicing or whatever it needs. The question for you is, how much longer do you want to keep that car? And are you comfortable keeping that car for another year or 2 years? Because the amortization for the purchase of the service at $2,500 over 2 years, you can amortize that to $100 a month. Now, I can't think of any vehicle you're going to get at $100 a month if you bought a vehicle that you would have payments for. So in that regard, even though your Honda might be worth only $5,000-$6,000, it's worth making the investment of 50% of its value in order to keep it going for $2,500.
Now, what he's saying though is, let's say your car is worth $5,000,
Yes,
and you have a $6,000 repair. In theory, your car is totaled, because if you have repair more than the value, that's totaling it out, all not for insurance purposes,
right.
whatever. But, and like a warranty company, if you had an extended warranty on that car, they would not cover it beyond the value of the car.
Right.
So that's where your decision's in. But like Raffi's saying, let's say it is $6,000. If you went to buy that exact same car with a new transmission, let's say that's what you need, and with some new hoses and belts, let's say you do all that. Okay, it's worth $5,000.
Right.
Plus tax,
Yes.
registration.
Yep.
And having to go find it and test drive it in your time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always said, and this is my personal opinion, if you pay cash for a car and you literally drive it until the wheels come off, like
Yep.
you have nothing left, you fix everything as it happens, it's always the cheapest way to go.
Yes.
Now, you might be driving a 79 Pontiac Catalina for the rest of your life, which is why I have a 79 Pontiac Catalina that just sits and I'm going to get it running. But I think that it is there. I don't think there is a point, unless, of course, you want a nicer car.
That's where it comes
really the
down.
point.
And that's why it's a personal question.
Yeah.
It's not a financial one. If you tell yourself, look, I've had this car for 5 years, it's getting a little long in the tooth, the paint isn't as nice as it used to be, the bolster on the seat is a little worn out, I can't get that radio knob to focus on the stations at the end of the band, on and on and on, you just tell yourself, you know what, it's time for a new car. So you take the $2,500 you were going to spend on the repairs, you sell the vehicle, or you go in and you trade in the vehicle, you add your $2,500 on top of that, and you get a car maybe with no payments, and then it makes financial sense then. But oftentimes these are emotional answers or personal answers, because you may have had the car for a few years and realize it's too big, or you had to buy tires more frequently than you thought because it's a high-profile vehicle and the tires are expensive, whatever it might be. There might be some circumstance or condition associated with the ownership that makes you decide you want to get rid of it. The notion that a car could be a lemon, this happens periodically with new cars and also with used cars. And sometimes if cars have consistent and perpetual mechanical problems, it's a good decision to just sell it and move on.
Yeah, we have a friend whose daily driver is a 1935 Packard.
Yes, his
I
daily
just drove
driver.
by him on my way here. He just bought it.
His
He got it
daily
from that
driver.
garage we were talking about last week. Speaking of friends, I want to share something real quick.
Okay.
This is not car related per se.
Well, kind of.
I guess
from
it
our
is.
car
It's
guy
from our
group.
Cars and Coffee group.
Yeah.
A good friend of ours. Should I say his name and everything?
Well, maybe you don't want to say.
I won't say his name.
Yeah, there you go.
He's a famous photographer.
There you go.
And he worked in the film, and he worked in Hollywood. And he brought me a hat the other day, and because I always wear my 147 hat, which is from the sitcom, and you have to see the sitcom to understand. But he brought me this hat, and it says "A Few Good Laughs," and it looks like that's the Marine logo. Is that Marine or is that Navy? I don't know. It looks very military-ish.
Well,
I should know these things.
you should know.
But on the
Ray's gonna know.
a Few Good Laughs, LAFFS, which I used to have a comedy club called Dr. Laughs. And then on the back, it says Mr. Saturday Night. He was the photographer for the movie Mr. Saturday Night. And at the same time at Culver Studios, which I think is now called Amazon MGM Studios, it's Marines. Thank you, Adam. Yeah. He was working on Mr. Saturday Night. At the same time, in the soundstage right next door, they were filming A Few Good Men with Rob Reiner. And they were all wearing this hat that said A Few Good Men, this exact same hat. And so he knew that the guy that did the hats, which was SoCal logo, SEW.
There you go.
And as Raffi pointed out, this has a 213
area
still
code
for Carson, California, which is now a 310 or a 562, I think.
So you know that it's an old.
It's made in the USA.
Company. That's
it's a
how you know.
New era, made in the USA. You don't see that too often.
30-year-old hat.
And so he went off and had a whole bunch of hats made for the cast and crew of Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal, and put that on the back and put a few good laughs in the front. So now they're walking around the soundstage with almost the same hat. What worries me about wearing this hat is I'm afraid people are going to start thanking me for my service. I didn't even know if that was Marines or Navy, and I guessed Marines first, but it's like I don't want to do stolen valor. Although I might wear this next time I fly.
There
just
you
to
go.
say I might board a little early. And the cool thing is there's a little bit of a makeup stain right in here, which means one of the actors wore this hat.
Yep.
I wonder who did. Somebody had it on,
and
then Bruce stole it back from him. So that's a cool little story. Another thing I want to say before we move on, and Ray's got a cool car he wants to show us, and we'll do that for Car of the Week. If you're watching, whether you're watching it live or you're watching this later, I looked at our numbers. We get 10 times more views in the week after the show.
Oh,
like a lot of people are watching, and we're on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, X,
Twitch.
We're on Twitch.
Twitch.
We're on Facebook, and we're spreading it very thin. If we went to we're only in one place. We just put it. We're going to put it only on YouTube, or we're going to put it only on Facebook, and you had to watch it. Our views obviously would explode. But a lot of people aren't on Facebook.
There'd be millions.
Millions of microseconds. But what I'm asking is, if you're watching this, hit like, hit love.
Oh, that's okay.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Ring the bell. Just because it does help the algorithm that shows this to other people. And I think we offer something that's informative and entertaining.
Rip the bumper off that.
Rip the bumper off of that son of a. So Ray does have a Car of the Week.
All right, what do we got as Car of the Week, Ray? For those of you who don't know, Ray Pepper, local dealer to us.
He's in Gig Harbor, giggity.
And we've got, it looks like Truck of the Week, actually.
Let's see. I have to play the bumper. Jeez, what do I do? Hold on. We have to play the bumper first.
Our interns are just.
Can you
please get?
Can you hit it? All right, here we go. Our Car of the Week, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a truck, and I'm not going to make Raffi guess what it is because he can see pretty clearly what it is. Look at that beauty.
That's a great truck. Especially, and we were just having this conversation. These are low cost relative to buying new, and this is probably a 2-wheel drive.
It is a 2-wheel drive,
but this thing is going to go forever. I don't know what the mileage is on it.
190.
190. It's just broken in.
It's a 4-cylinder, so it sips the gas. Yep. It is weird they have an SR5 off-road logo on it, yet it's 2-wheel drive.
Yeah, that may just be for fun, but I'll tell you what, this looks like it's in good condition, not had any accidents. The paint looks great. The interior is probably nice, and this is a sort of base model or standard model. But so what? If you need a pickup truck and you don't want to spend $45,000-$50,000 to get a new one, and that's a base model one. Some of the newer ones, they're in the $70,000-$80,000 range.
Yeah,
this is a great way to go. Plenty of utility, plenty of durability, great fuel economy because, as Dan said, it's a 4-cylinder, and highly desirable. Whatever you paid for this today, if you kept it up in good condition, you'd get your money back years from now when you sell it.
And Ray is asking a low $6,900.
$6,900. And I challenge you to find a functional, usable, drivable, ready to go to work pickup truck for that price. That's a great opportunity. In fact, I may tell a friend of mine about that one.
And Jacob mentions new loaded diesel GMC trucks go for $104,000.
Yes, and shockingly,
People are paying it.
yes, and here's what's amazing about that: $104,000. That's that the only way for people to do it is to have a 7-year financing plan. 7 years.
Corvettes, they used to do 10-year. Well, on a
Yes.
Corvette that was $50,000, they would
Right.
do a
They
10-year
would do a
program
10-year.
or an 84-month. And now it's going to be a 30-year. I mean, mortgages.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Well, if you're a farmer, you're certainly going to spend that much for farm equipment.
Yeah.
And you're certainly going to see the money come back. So I think a lot of people buy these heavy-duty trucks for their businesses. But oftentimes I see these giant, beautiful trucks driving around, and one guy gets out and he's got a clipboard and he's the shop foreman or the foreman for the job, and he's not carrying around any gear. He doesn't need a vehicle like that, but they write it off for the business.
Right. And there's not a scratch in the bed. It's never carried wood.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the bed. Those guys buy these expensive cars. Race truck is an automatic.
Yeah.
And it's a one owner
automatic. And again, not that many people are familiar with driving stick shifts. So automatic is becoming more and more commonplace.
And he's not going to take it to the car wash.
That's good.
At least not to the Sudstar in Port Orchard. Dan Linquist says, I still think that amount of money is the cost of the house. It really, I mean, in parts of the country,
is it
you
still?
Can buy, yes, there are houses
for
under $100,000 for a house.
Wow.
It's a car payment now.
Yeah. Well, what's it? Yeah.
By the way, I don't see any extra likes or loves. I mean, come on, people.
Back to the conversation about car payments. So at $104,000, even on a 7-year term, the other thing that's shocking is that at 6%, which is your, I guess that's the current interest now.
6?
Yeah.
That's if you got sparkling credit, you can get 6.
Okay.
You're looking at, I mean, if you do it through the captive financing, as they call it. So like if you buy the GMC and you do GM financial financing,
okay,
they might have 3.9, 4.9, 5.9.
Right.
If you've got a 780 or better.
Okay.
I'm seeing people get credit that have 700 credit scores, which used to be, if you had a 700, you were gold. Yeah. It was like fast lane, it goes right through, boom. Okay. 12, 14%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So at 12, 14%, if you're carrying paper on a $104,000 rig, those numbers add up very quickly. So in the old days, a year and a half ago, where you were 0% financing, that's a very, very big difference in your payment. So be mindful of how you spend if you're looking to buy a new vehicle. There are a lot of very, very good vehicles out there that are pre-owned or used, whatever the term they want to use, used, certified select, whatever it is. Save a little bit of money and buy a vehicle that is not brand new, because contemporary vehicle technology is so good now that a vehicle that has 20, 30, 40, 50,000 miles is going to serve you just as well as a brand new one. You do not need to have a brand new vehicle.
Now, here's a quick little calculation from Navy Federal. I just pulled up the first one that showed up in Google.
Okay.
So you obviously have to be part of the military.
Yes.
But I put in $130,000 with no money down.
Okay.
And you're getting a $2,026 for 84 months.
$2,026
a month.
Per month for a car.
Yeah. At $130,000. Now the reason I did 130 is 104 plus tax plus registration. You're probably gonna throw a warranty in.
A couple other deals.
Yeah. Now if you put that's at 8%.
Yeah. Now drop it to 4% just for giggles.
All right. Boom. 4%. Oh, look at that payment. Wow. $1,777.
That's still a high payment, but that takes down quite a bit of money out of it.
And if you put some money down to cover all that extra stuff.
Yep. And lower your principal.
Down payment. So there let's say you put down tax and license of $14,000. Now you're down to $1,586.
Yeah.
Now, if you can get the payment, if you can get this below, like kind of what inflation's gone down, it's been almost zero for the past few months. But when it was at like 6%, if you can get a car rate at 3%, then you're better off putting no money down.
Yes,
because the
no,
cost of the money
exactly, is cheaper
is
than,
cheaper.
because you can get 5% in a regular account. And again, what's important about these kinds of things is that a lot of people will make a car purchase just based on walking in, seeing something they love, falling in love with it, and purchasing the vehicle. At at five, 10, $15,000, go ahead, do that, be impulsive, have some fun, and there's very minimal financial risk. But when you're spending 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000, talk to experts, talk to us, and get some information ahead of time, because that information is going to save you 25, 30, 40, $50,000. It's also going to change your financial position in terms of monthly leveraging. $2,000 a month is mortgage
Yeah.
payment. So do you really need that brand new truck?
Yeah, because you could buy a 3-year-old one.
Yeah.
If somebody leasing is also a really good option because you can get your payment down.
Yep.
And you get a new vehicle every few years.
And with leasing, depending on your business
Oops, that's the
structure,
wrong one.
you can fully deduct on a lease.
Now, I want to show Adam's comment first, then we'll get to Ray's. Adam says, I get a chuckle when I see a sticker that says certified pre-owned in a used car lot. It's in a used car lot. I already assumed it was pre-owned. Now, they're not certifying the fact that it's pre-owned, Adam. That is funny.
Right.
I know that's not what you meant. Certify, what is certified, and by the way, non-manufacturers technically in some states can't use the word certified.
Right.
So if you go to a Ford dealership and you get a certified Blue Oval, I think they call theirs.
Yeah.
Blue Oval certified, or Lexus has their L certified, you get benefits above and beyond it being a used car.
Right.
So you'll get, Lexus I think has one of the best. You get unlimited mile warranty, bumper to bumper, like a brand new car for 2 years, I think. And they go through
oil changes.
Yeah, you get oil. You get, it's like you're buying a new car. Sometimes it's better coverage than a new car.
Yeah.
And I went and looked at one once, and they brought out all the repairs they did to the car. And because I said, "This you're asking 18.9 for this car, you know, it should be about 17." He goes, "Well, let me show you. $4,000 worth of work they did. They even showed me what they paid for the car at the auction. Like, here's the cost of it, which I'm sure they inflated. Here's the cost of the car. Here's this. You know, we marked them up $995. They were it was a very transparent dealership, a Lexus dealership of all places, being transparent. But there are benefits to buying a certified pre-owned, where you get all this certification. You get the extended warranty, because usually a certified pre-owned, when I was at Chevrolet, we could only certify cars that were still under warranty, if I remember correctly. So you're extending the warranty. And there's a difference between a warranty and like a service contract.
Right. And also, most used car establishments, if they give you a guarantee, they generally have gone through the car the way a good local mechanic would go through your car. So if you have the opportunity to take a vehicle you're considering buying to your local mechanic, this should be somebody that you know and trust has worked on your vehicles before. They usually can do a pre-purchase inspection, or PPI.
PPI.
Yeah, for anywhere between $150 to $250, depending on the vehicle. And this is good money spent, because they'll be able to independently tell you what potentially could be wrong with the vehicle. The other thing that's good to do is, if you have a nearby body shop, take the same car to the body shop and have them look it over and see if it's had any structural damage. See if anything has been repaired. See if there are any telltale signs of paint and body work that have been done on the vehicle, and a good body shop will be able to tell you that.
Yeah. Now, Robert Moss says that certified term is often a bad joke. Yeah. And it's also, if it's not at a factory dealership. So if you're not at a Ford, a franchise, it's really not certified. If you're just going to Bob's Used Cars, no offense, Bob, and they put the word certified on, well, ask them, well, how's it certified?
Yeah.
Because we say it is. We charge you an extra $500 to say it is. Do you give me a warranty with it? What does the warranty cover?
Right.
And a warranty means it's free. You don't pay for a warranty. Warranty is included with the car. A service contract or service agreement is what you pay for. So there's a difference between the two.
Also important to remember, your insurance company sometimes will offer you an extended warranty product. So your insurance company has access to extended warranty programs that for money up front will give you an extended warranty. And this is important for vehicles that have a lot of computer software, have a lot of digital display screens, have a lot of features, because that stuff can be expensive when it goes wrong.
Yeah. Now, Ray has an interesting question.
Okay.
He says, my friend bought a Tesla Plaid, not worth 100K, by the way. He also paid 16K for self-driving. I asked him to show me how it works. He said he can't do it yet due to a software upgrade.
Yes.
My question is, does he not know how to use it? Now, it depends. I think they turned it off on some of the cars
Yes.
because they were having a recall issue.
Yeah. So this is a good question. He may not have access to it because the software, as on all Teslas, the manufacturer can basically disable features on your vehicle. You've heard the article about if you don't keep up your monthly subscription on your heated seats, they can shut it off. So you'll get in your car, you go push the button on it. And during the cold snap, people are like, why are my heated seats working? Said, well, you canceled your heated seat subscription. Who gets a subscription for heated seats? Oh my gosh. This is the problem with artificial intelligence. It's not artificial and it's not intelligent.
Exactly.
Anyway,
some guy in Pakistan going, turn off the seats, turn off the seats. No offense to Pakistan.
Well, even if it's probably just an algorithm somewhere that's just maximizing profits. So back to Tesla Plaid, self-driving. Some of that has been shut off because I think there's been continued problems with self-driving on the Teslas. So he may not have access to it right now. And lots of cars, especially high-end hypercars, that these multi-million-dollar cars, people buy them and they take them out in the open road and they blast them up to 150, 200 miles an hour. Some of these vehicles are now electronically regulated so that they wait for you to get some miles on the vehicle before you go out and try to injure yourself going that fast. And vehicles these days are extremely fast. They're not only fast, meaning they can get up to high speeds and sustain those speeds for a long time. They're quick, getting 0 to 60 in 2 to 3 seconds, and then 60 to 100 in another 2 to 3 seconds. I'm here to tell you that 100 miles an hour is very, very fast in a street car, and obviously should not be done on public roadways because of the dangers it poses to yourself and others.
Yes. Now my car is 3.9, 0 to 60, but the 40 to 80 is like 2.
Yeah. And
or less.
A lot can happen in 2 seconds when you're driving a car. The amount of road that you're covering at that rate of acceleration is significant. So you have to be really careful what you're doing. And like with a lot of these cars, tire technology is amazing, and cars certainly grip the road, but you're not protected from various debris on the roadway, nails, construction, trash that has just ended up on the roadways. All of that stuff can put a very, very quick end to your performance enjoyment.
So my next question to you, sir.
Yes.
Do you have an old school for us?
I can certainly do an old school.
You just always have one.
I have one in my head.
If anybody walked up to you at a party and says, tell me about an old school car, you're like, oh, wait, I got to wait for the where's the opening? I can't do it.
You're going to love my old school for that.
All right, well, here we go. Time for old school with Raffi.
All right, it's time for old school. And today, Dan gave the clue earlier on. It triggered in my brain. And I thought, you know what? We haven't old schooled in a long time. And that is a pre-war Packard.
Oh.
That's right. For those of you that don't know, Packard was one of the most important automobile manufacturers in the world. And I say the world, even though they were an American manufacturer, but Packard started out at the turn of the former century building automobiles of very high quality and of high price. So they were premium vehicles, but they also offered high value vehicles at the lower cost range. They had 8 cylinders and 12-cylinder vehicles, and they built basic sedans. They built beautiful looking convertibles with special coach built bodies. But during the Second World War, Packard stepped up and modified all their manufacturing to build the engines for our warplanes. And as everyone knows, history will tell you that we won the war based on our dominance in the air. And a lot of that has to do with the durability and phenomenal engineering of Packard engines. So the world owes Packard automobiles and the Packard Corporation in many ways for having won the Second World War. Now, Packard built some beautiful, opulent, and just wonderfully proportioned vehicles. And surprisingly, there's a big range in price. The one Dan has currently up on the screen, that's a Packard 12, and that's going to set you back probably $150,000. So that's quite a bit of money to pay for a classic. But you can get some very nice pre-war, elegant-looking Packards for in the $35,000 to $60,000 range, and a car like this that Dan's currently pulled up. Just a very, very nice, elegant, simple, and very, very basic. They're so easy to work on. Straight eight engine with a simple carburetor, mechanical fuel pump. Very few things can go wrong with a Packard. And because they're later series cars, they're going to have hydraulic brakes, which will be significantly improved over mechanical or even earlier cable brakes. So you can get a car that's safe. You're not going to break any speed laws with a car like this, though they will go highway speeds. They will go 60 to 70 miles an hour and more. These are great cars for just touring around town, enjoying the vintage experience, and they are very inexpensive to repair and maintain. Do yourself a favor and do not attempt to restore one because they can be extremely expensive to restore. You'll want to get one that has been previously restored because lots of people spent a lot of money restoring them back in the 70s and 80s. And the restorations tend to hold up pretty well because these cars don't get used regularly. And they are often cared for quite a bit. This one sold 10 years ago. Does it say what
It
the...
does. Do you want to guess?
Well, 10 years ago for it's a Super 8 Roadster 10 years
So
ago.
this is not the same as our friends.
No, this is similar, but it's not the identical.
It looks a little sharper, if that makes sense.
No, it's scroll down. Let's see. It might be the same. So this one I'm going to suggest if it's in really good condition.
It's sold at the Pebble Beach auctions.
This one could have sold for 120,000.
Look at you.
176. So the estimate was 180 to 100 or 140 to 180. Lovely condition throughout. So one owner car for 40 years, and it's a full CCA classic and probably had some. Yeah. So one of the things that's interesting about these pre-war cars is that the prices and values have dropped. And the reason why is primarily because fewer and fewer people are alive that remember these cars. So some time has to pass for younger people to discover that these are really cool. Our friend who has the 35 Packard, he parked the car at the local market, and a young girl, maybe 10, 11 years old, came over and she thought it was the greatest thing she'd ever seen in her life. And it's because it was completely unfamiliar to her. So younger people will begin to discover Packards and other pre-war cars and hopefully delight in their use and preservation.
Yeah, and this was a true barn find. The one that he got.
He found it in a barn, pulled it out, and took it home and got it primed and ready and started right up.
It's his daily driver, which
It
is
is
unbelievable.
He's put probably close to 200 miles on it.
Yeah. Now, I've shown you a car. We'll use it as a surprise if I end up getting it.
Okay.
I've got a funny story. So I found this car at a little charity auction that I might buy, and I'll find out next week. But when I had the Fiero
Hmm.
that we mentioned before,
Yes.
I ordered tires online, and they shipped the wrong size.
Yes.
Then
No,
I
that
got the
was
right one shipped, and I forgot to ship the other ones back in time. And when I went to return them, they charged me for both. So I've had them sitting in storage, and I'm like, I'll find a car that these tires fit. And I found a car,
you found a car with the tires
like, and the car will be sub $1,000.
to
Running
purchase
and
it.
driving
Running and
car,
driving. Okay.
purchased and delivered to
Right.
my to,
Right.
to Greenlight Garage, to our friends over there, and they'll go through it. We'll give it a tune-up. We'll get it ready to go, and they'll put these tires on.
There you go.
Now, the car requires a 225, and it's a 215. That's not going to kill it. Everything else is the same.
It should be fine.
It's a 205 1660, and it requires a 225 1660.
Oh, it's a 205.
205 is what I have. 215 is what I have.
Okay.
225 is what I need. So it's only it's a little thinner.
215 won't make a difference. 205 will.
205 to 225 will, but 205 to 215 won't. I know whatever it is, it's only off by 10.
Yeah.
I forget the exact number. It's close enough because I got to put these tires on something. Well, you got to find some barns. It's amazing. You never know what's out there.
No, you don't. And when we say a barn find, it could be in a garage. It could
This is like a pole building.
Yeah, yeah. But it's amazing how much stuff is hidden. This guy's garage, there were cars moved off into this corner nook sideways. There's no way you could have parked them in there. They were put on, rollers and then sidetracked into that section.
Yeah, they were shimmied.
Yes.
That's okay. And the other thing that's interesting is that the Chrysler 300.
Yes.
Did you hear?
No.
He sold it.
Oh, he sold it. Yes. Yeah. Do you know the number?
I do know the number.
Oh my goodness. What did he?
So this is a car that I wanted, and Raffi sold it perfectly to tell the guy this is scrap metal. Anything you can get for it is bonus money.
Yep.
Because it's going to need so much work.
Yep.
The cost of towing it out of here.
Yeah.
All the tires are flat.
Yeah.
And do you have a guess what he got for it? He said, "I'm gonna make the guy a deal. The guy wants my neighbor wants it."
Was a non-running car, rust pretty much evident. We didn't look underneath it, but there could have been rust underneath it. When you open the hood, there was rust on all the metal surfaces. The interior was complete, but not an interior you'd want to restore. My guess, the neighbor might have paid $750 for it.
$2,000.
Oh my gosh!
The guy paid him $2,000. The guy sold like 5 cars. He has another car group that our friends in. That they all went. He had 20 people show up, and they just went through and salvaged stuff.
Well, good for him for getting the $2,000. I mean, that's certainly good, but I got to tell you, $2,000 for that car. You'd be better off going to buy a $10,000 one that's in beautiful condition, and having that instead of the $2,000 one. Even if you do the work yourself, you'll spend $10,000 on that car in no time.
What I would have done is I probably would have taken. You said there were only 3 hubcaps. I'm guessing there might be a 4th in the trunk.
Yeah, possibly.
But let's say there's only 3 hubcaps. Those hubcaps are probably $200 each because it's a big knockoff looking hubcap.
Yeah.
And then you've got all the glass was in good shape, no cracks. The door panels were there; they were taken off.
Yeah.
The back seat was like brand new. Nobody sits in the back seat.
Yeah, but it was out.
Right.
Yeah.
All the better. I think there were enough parts in that car that you probably could get your $2,000 back if you just parted it out.
That's probably true. You probably
if that guy did. Now Bob wants to you just walk in. Yes, you just walk into you just find a barn, you walk in, oh, there's a car, and you buy it. Usually,
having done this as long as I have, usually you can tell when there's a car hiding somewhere. Some of the signs might be that the cars outside are a bit older but running well. If you see that there's a front garage and then there's a side garage somewhere, that usually means there's some cars hidden in there. Oftentimes you just drive by and you'll see car parts piled up in the trash area for pickup. So those are usually good indicators. And though people, you want to be respectful of people's privacy, you just show up. In 1979, I had a Chrysler 1950 Chrysler New Yorker four-door sedan. Great car, low miles, and in a beautiful original condition. And the only thing that didn't work quite well on them were the windshield wipers. So living in Southern California, on a rare day, I was driving home from my girlfriend's place, now my wife.
Does your wife know? Oh, okay.
Now my wife. And I decided to go a different way, and I came past a house, and I looked over and saw in the driveway with a blue tarp covering it, and I could tell it was a Chrysler 4950 Chrysler, but it was a convertible because of the shape of the tarp, the way it covered over, and it was raining. So it's dark, it's raining, and I looked over, I glanced over, I said, "Oh, that's a Chrysler." So I put it in my mind to check in the next day. So I drove home the next day. I went back to the place, and the convertible was gone. I thought, I wonder what happened. So I brought my Chrysler and parked it out in front, and then knocked on the door, and a woman came to the door and said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I have a Chrysler just like the one that was in your driveway here. I wondered if it might be for sale." And she said, "There hasn't been a Chrysler in our driveway for years." And I said, "Now, I'm a car guy. I know when I've seen a car." And I said, no, it was here yesterday. I drove by in the rain and saw it. And I'm just wondering because if it's potentially for sale." And she said, I sold that car more than 10 years ago.
You saw a ghost of a car?
I saw a ghost of a car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I
That's
still
weird.
remember it to this day. It was so vivid. And I got chills, and I said, "Oh,
Did you dream
okay.
it maybe?
I don't know,
Now here's another way you can find sometimes a barn find. I just pulled the first thing I found here
Yes.
is, you look at where it is
Yep.
and you kind of go through the pictures real quick.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't. Sometimes you'll see a barn in the background. And
Yeah.
look right there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
There's like a.
Yep.
So they pull this one out. They want to sell it off.
That's actually a rare car. That's a Hudson Wasp.
$2,500. Want to go get it?
No, because that's a tremendous amount of work, and the car isn't worth that
Rust
much
only
when
in
it's
wheel
done.
wells, extra hood, transmission, tail lights, hubcaps, and many
Yeah.
others.
There are a lot of deals on Craigslist and various other places where you can go. There's a Barn Finds website. Usually, if it's up on a website or starts to get noted in other places online, it's probably gone by then.
Now, this has an interesting thing. It says currently sold only with a bill of sale, which is fine. Unique and rare model, which you just said, in the family for decades, but can't restore them all.
Can't restore
So
them
what
all.
does that tell you? They may have more.
They
And
may
when
have
our
more.
friend found his Hudson,
Yeah.
it was a similar thing. The guy had listed just the Hudson, and then he noticed the pictures. Oh, wait, there's more. And then when he went to look, the guy had 10 cars sitting in this garage.
Yeah.
So that's how you find a barn find.
Yep.
Is usually you look for an old car.
And that's the Hudson Flat 6. That's a 6-cylinder. Also a great engine, very durable. I had a 49 Hudson. I had the Commodore, which was a slightly higher end model than the Wasp. There was the Wasp and the Hornet. And these also came with the Twin H powered intake manifold, which had twin carburetors, so a little bit higher performance. But Hudsons were very well known as some of the early series stock cars, before, just as NASCAR was beginning to develop. They were phenomenal in early NASCAR because they were built very low and hunkered down over the chassis. And that, I think they called it step down design, was a big advantage in terms of the way it handled. So yeah, there you go. Step down Hudson. I believe that's is it an automatic? What year is it?
It's a 54.
So it might be an automatic, or it could be a 3 on the tree.
Two-door club sedan.
Club sedan.
Ready to restore. $2,500. Scrap metal's $500.
Yeah.
I'd hate to see it get scrapped.
Yeah, because there's enough car there to do the job if you wanted to do it. With a car like that, you do it just on your passion. You have to do it yourself. You would never want to take it to a shop and say, "Here's 30 grand, make it beautiful." They'd be calling you within 6 months and say, "Do you have another 30 grand?"
Yeah.
Because it will take all of 60 grand to make
Just
that car.
go onto Motor Trend TV and start watching all those restoration shows, because they all have customers. A lot of them are ones where I think Graveyard Cars is one of them.
Yeah.
Where they have a customer who's like, "Oh, we have this build. We want to.
Yeah.
We've got $80,000."
Yes.
And every episode, they get to the 80 grand. They're like, we need more
We
money.
need more money.
Sometimes they make a little bit of money.
And here's why. Look, if you want good quality work, you're going to spend $100 an hour to get it.
Minimum.
And that's a minimum.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it doesn't take long for the average restoration is 2,000 hours. So if you're spending $100 an hour.
Do the math. Hold on. I think I'm good at this. Hold on. $100 times 2,000. It should be simple.
It should be.
That's $200,000.
Yes. Yes. And that's what it takes. And that doesn't include the price of the car. So oftentimes you have to back into those numbers, and you have to tell yourself, all right, let's say I don't do a complete restoration. I leave the body on the car, and we just do as good a job as we can. We do the interior, the upholstery, and by the way, when people say let's do the interior, that's usually the seats. It doesn't, and carpet, and maybe headliner. It doesn't include the dash, the door cards. Right. It doesn't include, a dashboard can cost you $5 grand alone to restore. So you have to be very careful how you spend. Even though there's lots of parts and pieces out there, it can add up very quickly.
Yeah, that's insane. And I remember I've told this story before, and I'll tell it again because we have new viewers at CarYada.
There you go.
This is a Clutch Radio story.
That's right.
When I first moved here, I wanted to get a classic car, and I found a 1962 Chrysler Newport over in Shoreline across the water. And the guy wanted $2,500, and it was green. And I bought it. I drove it home. I made it back. And everybody around me said, there's a guy you got to call at Modern Collision.
Yeah, Aaron.
So I called Aaron. Didn't know him yet. And he was very honest. He said, I only do full restoration. I don't do anything half-assed. I don't think he said half-assed, but halfway. He goes, I take it down to the nuts and bolts.
Yep. And
then we build it back up. Yeah. He goes, you're probably looking at $20,000 to $25,000 and probably looking at 18 months with my schedule. And he said, what's it worth fully restored? I'm like, 12. He goes, well, then you don't want to do this.
Right.
I mean, he was very honest. I mean, I'm sure he's had customers that are like, I don't care, just do it.
Yeah.
And they'll spend the money. And he said, go to Mako. The guy that owns the local Mako in Bremerton, Washington, he's a former, had a classic car shop. Mm-hmm. He knows what he's doing. I took it there, $4,000. I wanted under $4. $39.80 is what I ended up at. I negotiated because I'm like, I wanted under $4 grand.
Yeah.
They had a 0% for 18 months, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I did the little Mako card, paid it off quickly.
Not bad.
No interest.
Yeah.
And I had them change the color to red.
Yeah, with the black roof.
With the black roof.
Yeah.
And the trunk was rusted out, so they made a aluminum fiberglass aluminum floor for it. They put that in. They fixed a little rust on the rocker panels. The car looked fantastic.
Yeah, it did.
And the first car show I took it to, when I started to get to know Aaron, he's like, "Is this the one you took to Mako?"
Yeah,
because and this is like one of the best car body shops.
Yeah,
Modern Collision is one of the best.
Yeah,
very meticulous.
Yeah,
he said that's a great paint job.
Yeah.
Because that is a really good, because they didn't take everything off. It was all taped. It's all taped up.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can do a Mako job.
Yep. And
not the $399 special.
Not spend a lot of money when you do that. And again, if you have the resources, and this is, for example, your father's car, or my grandfather owned this car, I want to really do it right, go for it. But don't expect to get the money back. Most car restorations, you can recover anywhere between 60 and 75% of your investment. That's most car restorations, unless you're starting with a vehicle that's very valuable, very rare, very unique, and in high demand.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the show.
Already?
Can you believe that?
Wow. How do we do that?
It's fast. The first 10 minutes, like, oh my God, it's going to take forever. Then the last 50, it's like my car. It's like the 40 to 80 is like
That's it.
that.
There you go.
Please give us a like if you're watching this later. If you're watching this now, just hit it's free. Just
Yeah.
like.
Smash that button.
And during the week, if you have any questions, you can send us an email at show@caryada.com.
Yep.
Very simple. We're going to play the outro, even though it's
the older outro.
The old outro, because we still don't have a new one. Eric's been busy.
All right.
But we have to have an outro. So we'll see you next time.